Hi everyone, trust you can hear me. Let me know on the chat feature if you can hear me loud and clear. Appreciate that. My name's Eric, Executive Director and Founder of Helps. Helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. Um, and we do a YouTube Live. We do it Monday through Thursday. We have it 2 hours later on Thursday, which is today. So I'd like to welcome you. I put the title as How Laws Protect Seniors' Income. Okay. And if you're a regular, you know the answer to that, but I'll just kind of sum it up real quick. Social Security is protected under ever since it was founded in 1935, and can't be taken from you. Okay, and the only exception is child support, and in certain instances, taxes, IRS taxes. There's certain instances where uh, a federal loan can offset 15% of your Social Security, but they have to give you notice of doing that, and you have a time to try to get that waived. Um, um, and then what about your pension? Well, your pensions are protected under a federal law called ERISA, passed in 1974, called Employment Retirement Income Security Act. It provides uh, that your pension can't be garnished or taken from you. And then in 2012, there was a law that says if someone sues you and gets a judgment, the bank automatically protects twice the amount of your federal benefits deposited in your bank account, like Social Security or federal retirement, twice that sum, uh, regardless of what other monies are in the account. So if someone were to sue you and get a judgment and you're a senior, you can arrange things so that no one's going to be able to take money out of your bank account. Now, if you had more than twice the amount of your federal benefit in your account, they could hold up the extra. You'd have to file challenge to garnishment to get it released. I tell everyone if someone sues you and gets a judgment, make sure you just have one account. It's the account to which Social Security goes. And if you keep less than twice the amount you get each month, then no one's going to be able to take anything out of it. Okay? And then there's other laws that protect other assets. There's state exemption laws. So we just don't run into a problem very rarely with seniors losing any property. We'll go over that with you. Um, so you're going to be fine. So welcome to our Helps YouTube channel. Um, so and if you've got questions, you can put them in the chat feature. I'll address them there. And then I've got things that I've written out here. Um, we're going to coming up here pretty soon. I've talked about it before. We're going to start doing YouTube Live with senior living. You may have seen some of our videos with senior living. And what we may do is pick one day a week where at this time, maybe on Wednesday, uh, we'll do, instead of YouTube Live with on our channel, we're going to do it with senior living. I'll do it with um, Jeff Hoyt, and uh, we'll do it the two of us together. The screen will be split, and we have a way of doing it. But a lot more people look at his channel than this. And if we, and I told Jeff, I said, if we take one of the days we do it here and do it on your channel, all the people that listen to this, and we've got a lot of regulars, will go to that channel and we'll have a built-in audience. I told him, I said, the people that listen to this, they're well trained, they know what to do, they know how to ask questions, and so that's coming up here, hopefully sooner than later. That would really help to get the word out about Helps and what we do, because what we do is really necessary. A lot of seniors need this help. They have no idea it's available. So this person contacted us a couple of days ago. The guy called in for his wife. She gets Social Security of $1,900 and a $200 pension. And it says he has early dementia and isn't capable of going through all this she needs help. He has lots of medical problems. He retired early to take care of her at home. Um, he doesn't have any debt, but she has credit card debt and a little bit of medical debt. She's got good insurance. We read what we did, quoted the fees, and enrolled, so he doesn't have to worry about paying her credit card debt anymore. and she's not going to get bothered in the receipt. Says that she has her Social Security and pension directly deposited into one bank checking account, but also has a little money in a credit union. We told them what to do about the, not using the credit union anymore, getting the money out of there. And then we sent them some preloaded emails we have on different topics. How bank accounts are protected from garnishment. Do I have to go to court? What happens when a helps client is sued? And also a YouTube that explains about this YouTube live channel. Um, their home is free and clear, but it looks like it's going to be protected. See, if she passes before him and they own it jointly with rights of survivorship, then the home will automatically go to him, and that debt will not need to be paid. It'll go away. Okay. Even if someone happened to sue her and got a judgment, um, when she passes away before him, which is probably going to be more likely based on what they're reporting their medical condition, um, then any judgment lien would disappear. It would go away too. So he's going to be fine. Okay. And it concludes by saying, very nice man who is thankful we are here. And we hear that a lot. So Mrs. H says, can creditors take your back pay like from Social Security or a job? Well, they can't take your Social Security, and you understand that, twice the amount is protected automatically. But what about a job? Well, it depends on the state. We don't run into this problem very often. But if you're employed for wages, every state protects a minimum of $217.50 net per week in income from garnishment. Someone would have to sue you, get a judgment, and know where you work. But some states don't permit garnishment. Texas, for example, South Carolina, difficult to garnish there. And a lot of states protect more than $217.50. So like California, it's like $600 or $700 a week. But they'd have to sue, get a judgment, know where you work. So there usually isn't a problem with any of our clients getting garnished. If you were self-employed, how are they going to garnish your wages? I talked to someone yesterday. She self-employed. What she did is she trimmed dogs. Took care of dogs. Well, whenever she did a dog, she'd get paid for it. Well, if someone tried to garnish your wages, they'd have to be garnish your income. They'd have to be sitting there, handing the person who she just trimmed the dog for a writ of garnishment, because once she's paid, that's her money. No one can take it. Um, so just don't have a problem with clients losing money from any employment issues. It's possible. We'll go over that with you if there's an issue and what to do. Yeah. No, I'm excited about doing YouTube Live with Senior Living. I think it'll be a hit. I really do. Um, okay, so I've got some comments that people put on videos here. Um, on one of our videos, the guy puts a comment. He says, this could be a video we did with Senior Living. I don't know. He says, my state can put a lien on your property, 5 exclamation points, and subpoena you to court, 4 exclamation points. Well, a judgment can be a lien on your real property, which means a home on land, okay, in the county where you live. But a lot of reasons that's not an issue. Like if you own the home jointly with the spouse, judgment was just against you. Not a whole lot they can do. And it's not their practice to go after people's homes. Now, are they going to take a car or anything like that? Every state has exemption laws that protect a certain amount of equity in vehicles and things like that. There are some exceptions where someone tries to go after property, but they're very rare. One of our attorneys just told me a few minutes ago where in Michigan, a creditor went after a guy's car, hit a roller with helps, and then he let a car go back and bought a $2,300 car, and someone actually took his car because the Michigan exemption um, said it was only $1,000 if it was necessary for your work, and he wasn't working. And we think that the creditor that took it, and it's happened some time back, was a credit union. And sometimes credit unions do things that don't make economic sense because the cost for them repossessing that car and selling it, probably they're not going to come out. It's going to cost them more money than they'd ever get. So you shouldn't really worry about losing your other property. Which leads into the other question that some person asked: what about physical assets such as homes, vehicles, and personal property? Couldn't such assets be seized as a result of a lawsuit? Well, it depends on state law, and it's technically possible. But I'm 74, been doing this for 46 years, helped since 2012. 46 years of filing bankruptcy. It's simply not the practice of consumer judgment creditors to go after a person's property. Happens on extremely rare occasions, and we can always talk to people about that. But it's not enough that generally for someone to really be concerned about. So good to have you here today. Put your questions on the chat feature if you got any. This is your last chance this week to ask questions if you have any. This person writes in, just came across this YouTube video. I think this is one that we recently did with senior living. I think it's called 6 Things Debt Collectors Don't Want You to Know, something like that. I was hoping to hear what age is someone considered a senior. Okay, well, we've answered this question before. All these laws apply to source of income, regardless of your age. If you get Social Security, pension, disability, VA benefits, that income is protected. You don't have to be a senior, don't have to be retired. Okay. Next, what if a debt collector doesn't reach out to someone and just reports past medical debts to credit bureaus? What can be done? Is that lawful? Well, a lot of times, the doctor or the hospital isn't going to report to the credit bureau, but maybe when they turn it over to a debt collector, they will. It is, we do have a program called 7 Steps to a 720 Credit Score. When you've been part of HELPS for 90 days, we can give you a link and you can enroll in that. It's free to rebuild your credit if you're interested in doing that. But yeah, it is possible for a medical debt to report to a credit reporter. There is talk of the law being changed to not allow that to happen. I don't know how that's progressing. I read somewhere that there might be some progression on it and then it was stopped. I'm not sure. I'll try to follow up on that. But as of now, it can still happen. We don't see it happening a whole lot. A lot of our clients they're not really worried about their credit report. If they enroll in HELPS and they've got a couple credit cards that they're current on, smaller amounts that they want to keep, they could keep those credit cards and still enroll in HELPS and not pay the other ones. So, yeah. Then a person writes in, they say, hospitals put liens on houses though, right? And my answer to this person on their comment on the YouTube video was only if a lawsuit was filed and a judgment obtained, which may not be an issue depending on state law and different other circumstances. To be honest, I don't see a lot of hospitals suing our clients for medical debt. Why is that? Well, a lot of the cost for the hospital is covered under Medicare, okay? And hospitals seem to be reticent to suing people, okay? I just don't see a lot of lawsuits from hospitals or doctors. Now, it can happen. Then there's a lot of times there's provisions for a hospital to waive a fee if someone is indigent or poor. Okay. So this person made a comment on one of this video where we talked about how income is protected and how they didn't need to worry about debt. And they say, that's not true if the creditor is the IRS, is it? Question mark. Can the IRS take your pension? That's a question. So this was my answer. The IRS may send a letter stating they intend to offset 15% of Social Security after 60 days. Legally, they could take a pension, but I've never seen this happen in 4 decades of practice. I haven't seen it happen. Often, lower income persons can qualify for currently not collectible status with the IRS, and it's not common for the IRS to collect from persons earning minimal income, to try to collect from them. So, if you do owe the IRS and they send you an intent to offset 15% of Social Security, it says they're going to do that after 60 days. It gives you a chance to apply for CNC status, currently not collectible status. We got an email on how to do that. But a lot of times, if your income is really low, if it's just Social Security, IRS may send you notices about the bill, but they're not going to take attempts to try to collect on it. And maybe the computer system tells them that because they realize that you could apply for currently not collectible status. I'm just telling you what my gut is after dealing with people in these areas all the time. I suppose there are exceptions. I talked to someone the other day that was having the IRS taken quite a bit of money, but theirs was a different circumstance. They owed hundreds of thousands of taxes, and they were originally a tax protester, and so the IRS put them in a different category. But first time I can recall that ever happening. Oh, I may have seen it before, but it's been a long time. So this person contacts us from Ohio, and they say, I've been sued by Capital One in Cuyahoga County Civil Division. I need a written response in 28 days. I'm retired. I receive Social Security of less than $900 per month and 2 pensions. Okay. Well, if you owe the money and you, you don't necessarily need to file an answer. I mean, if you want to dispute the debt, you don't owe it. Yeah, file an answer. But if you owe it, you do nothing. They're simply going to get a judgment. They can't garnish your Social Security and they can't take your pension. And now, what about when the pension hits the bank account? Well, the guy gets 900 in Social Security, twice that is protected automatically, would be $1,800 in the bank account would be protected. If you could keep the balance less than $1,800, if they were ever to garnish the bank account, then any other monies that were in that account, even if it wasn't from Social Security, would be protected. Twice the amount of Social Security is protected, that sum, regardless of the actual funds in there. But let's say you had more than that in there, then you could file challenge to garnishment or claim an exemption, and the court would order the money be released because the source of the funds, the pensions, are protected. Okay. So Jenny asks, do all mortgage companies that do loan modification, do they all work 3 parts? Not sure what your question is. Um, well, can the IRS take your home if a creditor got a judgment against the senior that is paid off home and they send a 1099 to see to them that money is owed? Can that happen? Uh, you know, I've heard of the IRS going after a person's home, but usually that's a multi-million-dollar home for someone that owes a whole lot of taxes. None of our clients have ever faced that situation from the IRS. IRS has like 10 years to take your home or to collect the tax. After that, statute of limitations run. They could file a lien on your home, which means if you go to sell the home, the debt would need to be paid or refinance it. But after 10 years, if they haven't collected the tax, then the tax goes away and they're going to remove the tax lien. Okay. So, none of our clients should worry about losing their home if they owe IRS taxes. It's just not going to happen. The IRS, they can do anything really. The law gives them, the government has really broad discretion, but I'm just telling you as a practical matter, they just don't do that kind of thing. This person contacts us from Missouri, and they say, I think you could help me. I have debt from credit cards and medical bills. I was paying my bills until I was hospitalized and lost my job. Can I get an information packet? I want to enroll with your program. Thank you for providing this information. Um, we do have an information packet that we send to people. Sometimes they ask us for it. I always tell people that you can learn more about helps by listening to our videos or looking at our webpage than you would ever by getting the 3 or 4 pages from our little informational packet that we send to people. But we still send you that packet if you want. Okay. Sorry for the yawns. I've been yawning a lot this week. Person is from Oregon, and they say I was referred to your organization, and I'm on Social Security, and have roughly 25,000 in debt, and I was told I pretty much didn't need to file bankruptcy as my only income is Social Security disability. He's right. He doesn't need to. I would like your help and questions. If you could reach out to me, please mail some information. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you in advance. Yeah, all forms of Social Security are protected. Okay. And yeah, if you're only getting Social Security disability, highly unlikely you would need to file bankruptcy. You probably couldn't afford to file bankruptcy. Okay. Bankruptcy is not cheap. It's a lot of money. And it's a lot of headaches. Okay. Person contacts us from Michigan. He's 67 and he gets less than $800 in Social Security. And he stopped paying his credit card debt less than 2 years ago. About 2 years ago. And apparently someone sued him, Capital One had sued him and gotten a judgment. He had about 1,700 in the bank account. Says he sells items online, but it's been a while. And so they got some of his money because it was more than twice the amount of his Social Security. If he got 750 in Social Security, $1,500 was protected automatically. So they may have gotten several $100s from his bank account. Unless it was a separate bank account from the account to which his Social Security deposited, then they could take all that money. Anyway, we went over what we do. Um, and talked about his vehicle. And we told him how to object to the garnishment. We sent him email on information on how he can do that and how to contact his local legal aid if he needed extra help. Okay. So this person contacts us from in Indiana, it looks like. Um, so she had to take early retirement due to health issues, was unable to get Social Security disability, and she owes the credit union some money. 91 days past due and unable to pay it. They emailed her today saying they were going to take legal action if she does not reach out to them to make an arrangement. Does she need to be concerned with that? She does not have any bank account. Apparently it's with Navy Federal Credit Union. Only a bank account at a different bank. We told her she'd be okay and her income is protected. She doesn't see what income she's getting, but if she gets Social Security, it'll be protected. Sent her some emails about it, what helps does. And we called, it looks like, may have been today, and enrolled her. Hope she does get Social Security. She has one credit union account where her Social Security is directly deposited, but she doesn't owe any debt to that particular credit card. We sent her an email on how bank accounts are protected from garnishment, and she was very interested in that. And Enrollment helps. And last thing it says, very nice person, very nice lady who was happy to have found helps. Okay, this person contacts us from Washington. They get Social Security, not a whole lot, 1150, 79 years old. She gets a little wage from the apartment complex where she lives. Must do a little work for them. Rents, buying a car. Has credit card debt she's paying the minimum on. She says that she's not ready to default yet. We reviewed what we did, answered her questions, and sent her several emails about topics she was interested in. Then she called back on November 10th and says, we sent some more emails to her that we had sent before. We repeated those emails because she didn't read it last time, interested in getting a clean slate. Has a Capital One credit card she owes a lot of money to. She called ready to enroll, quoted the fees, and looks like she enrolled in helps. So Rico asked, if you direct deposit at a certain bank and each receipt day you withdrew and put into another bank, is that money no longer protected even though the source was Social Security? Well, it's not protected automatically. If you put it into another bank, it's protected automatically up to twice the amount of federal benefits you get each month in the bank into which it's deposited. So if you took the Social Security and put it into a different bank, if that other bank got garnished, Rico, then the bank would examine the account and they couldn't tell where the money came from. They couldn't tell it came from Social Security. All they could tell is it came from a different bank account. So they could garnish that money and they could hold it up. You could file a challenge to garnishment or claim of exemption and go into court and show that judge that the money originally came from Social Security, and they likely would release the funds to you. But you can prevent that problem from happening. You don't need to worry about it at all unless you're sued. And if you're sued, you can prevent that from happening by just leaving it in the bank into which Social Security is deposited, just making sure it doesn't exceed twice the amount of your Social Security you get each month. Okay? So this person contacted us from Missouri, age 85. Oh, I remember this. They originally contacted us back in 2018. Two bank accounts. One account has the daughter's name on it, and she puts money into the account. Looks like he says he's going to change his pension to his main account where Social Security goes. And he wanted a copy of a cease and desist letter to send out himself. Okay. Called back a few months later in 2019. It says he just wanted to talk about Walmart calling him 40 times a day, he said. Probably an exaggeration. He just blocks the calls on his phone. See, Walmart, an original creditor isn't governed under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, so they could legally call 40 times a day. Normally they don't do that. Anyway, okay, he goes, let him know if he ever gets tired of the calls, we would be happy to represent him. Says he will call us if he needs us, and that's back in 2019. Then he calls 3 years later, in September 22. Has some more questions. He'll call. Let me see. We updated his new phone number. We returned his call. He had a Best Buy card and wants to know what may happen if he stops paying stop paying a card. Uh, and he had a question about bank account protections and a private pension. Says we went over the possibilities and the law. Says he had a little bit of a hard time understanding, thought they could only get a judgment if you have property. No, they can still sue you. We clarified it. He asked what it would cost if he doesn't want them harassing him to enroll in our services. He's not sure if he's going to stop paying, says he is getting fed up with them. Well, that was in the fall of 22. Then he calls us again in June of 24. See, we save information for people. Some people call us, like I said, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times before they realize they finally need help. Let's see what happens. He believes that he lived. Apparently, he had an apartment, and National Credit System has reached out to him, stating he owed them money. He owes them a few $100s. And then he called. Looks like today. Took out a credit card in his name for his daughter some years ago. She got behind on the payments, and they're after him now. Discuss protections. No need to worry. We quoted the fees and what we do. We read again and discussed needing the creditor information. It looks like he enrolled, and that was 7 years after he first contacted us. Most people don't wait 7 years. He could have enrolled back then. He could have had the last 7 years free from creditors bothering him, but that's fine. Whatever, we'll do whatever we can do to make people happy and take pressure off for people. Okay, that guy's from Missouri, and he's 85. So this person contacts us from Oregon. They're 75. They get $1,400 in Social Security and $500 in wages. He's got about $5,000 to $10,000 worth of debt they want to get rid of. He's got some credit cards that he's current on that he wants to keep paying. He only wants to give us the ones that are sizable that he just can't pay, can't afford. We answered his questions and enrolled him in helps. See, if you have credit cards that are good that you want to keep using, you don't need to give those to us. As long as they're not backed by a bank with whom we have another credit card you're not going to pay, you'll be able to keep those credit cards. Now, if for whatever reason later you're not able to pay that credit card, you can always turn it into helps, and we'll send them a cease and desist letter. Because, see, we represent you ongoing. If for any other reason you incurred another debt that you were having difficulty in paying, we would take care of it. Okay, so there may be a question. Okay, Ms. H asks, but what if it was transferred from your Social Security account to another account? So if you have Rico asked, if you have a direct deposit at a certain bank and each receipt day you withdraw and put it into another bank, is that money no longer protected even though the source was Social Security? I already explained that. It's not protected automatically. But you could, if there was a judgment, there was a garnishment, they could file a challenge to garnishment, and the court would likely release the monies because they could show that it came from Social Security. And then Mrs. H asked again, Let's see here. But what if it was transferred from your Social Security account to another account? I think I answered that. If it was transferred from your Social Security account to another account, um, it's not automatically protected unless that other account contained monies that was directly deposited from Social Security. See, in order for the bank to protect the money automatically, if they get a writ of garnishment, they examine where money came from in the account. And there's a code on the deposit that shows where it came from. And there's a specific code for federal funds, like Social Security, VA benefit, post office worker, um, railroad worker. Those are all federal pensions, or an office or a federal retirement income. They have a specific code, and then the bank knows to times that times two and protect that sum. Okay. So this person contacts us from Alaska. They get $1,900 in Social Security. They have Social Security. They get credit card debt, and it says his wife just got hit by a car. He's 65, she's 67. They're raising their granddaughter. They're not getting any help for doing that. They're not getting Social Security for doing that. They talked to us, looks like yesterday. We went through what we did. Talked about maybe keeping some credit cards that are small balances that he wanted to do. He's got 37,000 in debt. He just can't keep up with it. And it looks like he enrolled in helps. So he doesn't need to pay that 37,000. That's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. Okay. Okay. This person contacts us um, from Georgia. Husband is 69, wife is 68. It looks like they have 200,000 in debt. It's a lot. There's a reason for it. First contacted us a couple days ago, and then yesterday, and then today. Looks like they had a construction company, and they had a lot of credit card debt from the business. So, if you have a business and it's a corporation, uh, and you get a loan, except in rare circumstances, the lender is going to require a personal guarantee. They're going to, you may have a corporation, but they're going to make you sign personally. So if the business doesn't pay it, you're going to be responsible. Okay. Um, and so that's what's happened. The business went under, and they've got these creditors bothering her. Now, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it does apply to consumer creditors, not business debt. However, as far as help's concerned, it doesn't matter. We're going to send a letter out to anyone that you might owe money to, even if it is a business debt, and they're going to stop bothering you. I mean, they may still send you a bill, but they should stop calling you. Although legally they can call you. Okay, but the bottom line is there's really nothing they can do. Your Social Security is protected. If that's your income, retirement income, they can't really do anything. So we have a lot of clients that turn business debt into helps. So Franklin asked, when having a direct deposit from Social Security retirement and a direct deposit from a beneficiary, do they both count as the total, or is it just the retirement that counts as two times the amount? Well, it's the federal benefit that's received, like the Social Security. the bank uses that to determine how much money in the bank account is protected. Now you can have money in the bank account. If there's a garnishment of the bank account, you can have money in there from some other source. Doesn't matter as long as the total in there is less than twice the amount that was deposited from the federal source. So for example, if you got 2,000 in Social Security, 4,000 in the bank account is protected. And maybe you got $1,000 from a pension or from some other non-federal source. It's still safe as long as the total in the account at the time of a garnishment is less than twice the amount of the protected, twice the amount of the federal benefit you get each month. Okay. Um, okay. So this person contacts us from Texas. Uh, I think we're gonna end early today. It's like we have Monday through Thursday, and like Thursday, all the questions have kind of petered out. There's not as many questions today, um, but that's okay. I'm getting kind of tired. I'll still be answering phone calls. Okay, this person contacts us from Texas. They're 71 and 72. They get looks like the husband gets 2,300 in Social Security. The wife gets $1,100, but they have separate bank accounts. They're both on each other's bank account, but they each have separate bank accounts. So that means if he gets 2,300 in his account, 4,600 is protected. In her account, she gets 1,100, 2,200 in her account is protected. Um, they're buying a home and own old cars. So they're buying a home in Texas. Texas protects all the equity in a home, no matter how much it's worth, in almost all situations. They have both have credit card debt they can't pay, and he's got a new lawsuit with Wells Fargo. We read what we did, answered their questions. Looks like they told him how a lien could be removed if they decided to sell the home in Texas, and enrolled them. Okay. So, yeah, it's been 45 minutes. I'm tired. I've been working hard. Um, and I want to appreciate you participating today, and hope I answered some questions. If you press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and if you have any questions, call us. Feel free. We don't want you to worry. Okay. Um, so have a great day, and I will talk to you on Monday for sure, God willing, and I'm sure He will be. God bless. Bye.